They are coming here.
So, let me get this straight. He speaks perfect English,
Yes,
explains calmly who he is,
repeatedly.
owns the planet legally,
Registered and stamped.
and they still call him a savage.
Naturally. He is barefoot.
Ah, irrefutable evidence.
Also sculpts statues.
Primitive art?
Therapy.
Even worse.
They decided he is a native with advanced mimicry.
Classic. When facts interfere, declare them folklore.
Exactly. Welcome to rational colonization.
Absurdity achieved. Proceed with violence.
That's probably exactly how the Hatterites imagine natives of unexplored planets. But then how do they explain that I speak English? The whole story is absurd beyond belief.
Danton started back toward the starship, confident he could easily explain their mistake. After a few steps, however, he stopped. Evening was approaching. Behind him, white and gray clouds covered the sky, while a dense bluish fog rolled in from the sea. Sinister rustles and sounds drifted from the jungle. Danton had long known that all of them were completely harmless, but the newcomers might think otherwise.
These people don't hesitate to pull the trigger. It would be foolish to rush headlong toward my own death.
And so, Danton began cautiously making his way through the dense undergrowth. Darkly tanned, silent as a shadow, he blended into the brown-green foliage. Reaching a vantage point, he crawled through thick brush and carefully peered from behind a bush at the gently sloping shore. The pioneers had finally exited the ship. There were at least 20 of them, men, women, and several children. All were dressed in heavy black clothing and dripping with sweat. Danton saw that none of the newcomers had touched his gifts. Instead, an unappetizing spacefarer's meal sat displayed on an aluminum table. Several armed men with rifles and bandoliers paced at a distance from the group, carefully watching the jungle's edge and warily scanning the darkening sky. These were sentries.
Oh, shit.
My friends, at last we have found the long-awaited refuge. Look, before us lies the promised land, where nature is generous and abundant. Is our new homeland worthy of such long wanderings, of the dangers we endured, and of our endless searching?
It is worthy, our brother.
There are no civilized people on this planet. We were the first to arrive, friends, and it will belong to us. But remember the dangers. In the depths of the jungle, unknown monsters may roam.
The largest of which isn't bigger than a chipmunk. You could have asked me, I'd have told you.
And in the depths of the waters, some leviathan may lurk, Simeon continued. One thing we know for certain, the planet has natives, naked savages, and, like all aborigines, they are undoubtedly treacherous, cruel, and immoral. Beware of them. Of course, we would like to live in peace with them, bestowing upon them the fruits of civilization and the flowers of culture. They may behave in a friendly manner toward us, but always remember, friends, no one can penetrate the soul of a savage. They have their own customs, their own peculiar morality. They cannot be trusted. You must always remain vigilant, and if you suspect anything amiss, shoot first. Do not forget Land 2.
The listeners applauded, sang a hymn, and proceeded to their evening meal. When darkness thickened, the travelers lit floodlights, and the shore became as bright as day. Sentries paced back and forth, rifles at the ready, anxiously hunched. The settlers pulled out sleeping bags and settled in for the night near the starship. Even fear of a sudden native attack could not force them to spend another night inside the stifling ship. High in the sky drifted night clouds, half covering the enormous orange new Tahitian moon. The sentries paced at their posts, shouted curses into the darkness, and huddled ever closer together.
They opened fire at every rustle in the jungle and showered every shadow with abuse. Danton crawled back into the thicket. For the night he settled behind a tree to avoid being hit by a stray bullet.
Starting negotiations in the evening is clearly a bad idea. These Hatterites are far too nervous. It'll be easier to explain things to them in daylight, calmly, plainly, and reasonably. The trouble is, reasonableness isn't exactly a Hatterite strength.
Still, by morning the situation didn't seem quite so hopeless. Danton waited until the settlers finished breakfast and cautiously emerged from the bushes at the far end of the beach.
Halt! The savage has returned.
Oh, Mommy, the evil nasty man will eat me.
Don't be afraid, sweetheart. Daddy has a gun. Daddy will shoot the savage.
Ah, you've come. Step here.
Stiff with tension, Danton cautiously approached Simeon, keeping his hands visible so everyone could see they were empty.
I am the leader of these people. I big chief these people. And you, big chief your people?
Why are you talking like that? It's hard to understand you. I told you yesterday there's no one on the island, just me.
Don't try to trick me, or it'll be worse for you. Come on, out with it. Where's your tribe?
I'm a Terran. Are you deaf? Can't you hear how I speak?
Jedediah approached, accompanied by a gray-haired, stooped little man wearing large horn-rimmed glasses.
Simeon, I would like to meet our guest.
Professor Baker. This savage claims he's a Terran and says his name is Edward Danton.
The professor glanced at the loincloth, then at Danton's dark body and his rough, bare feet.
So you're a Terran?
Of course.
And who carved those stone statues on the shore?
I did, but it's just the kind of therapy, you see.
Typical primitive artifacts. The stylization, the noses.
Well, then it must have happened accidentally. You see, several months ago I left Earth on a government starship.
What was it equipped with?
Hyperspatial vortex converters. You see, I wasn't attracted to planets like Karani or, say, Gale 5, and I'm probably not temperamental enough for hedonia. I flew past the mining worlds and the farming worlds and finally landed on this planet. I named it New Tahiti, and it's registered in my name. Frankly, I was so lonely here that I'm sincerely glad to see you.
What do you say to that, Professor?
Astonishing. Truly astonishing. To master conversational English so well is possible only with a relatively high level of intellectual development. We must therefore assume we're dealing with a phenomenon not uncommon in primitive societies, namely an extraordinarily developed ability for mimicry. Our friend Danton, as he was surely called before he distorted his name into an English form, probably knows many local legends, myths, songs, dances, and will perform them for us.
But I'm an Earthling.
No, my poor friend, you are not an Earthling. I have no doubt you may have met an Earthling. Most likely it was some merchant who made a forced landing here.
There are traces on the island of a spacecraft that stopped here briefly.
Oh, you see, my hypothesis is confirmed.
No, it was a government ship. I arrived on it.
It is also interesting to note those critical points when an almost plausible story suddenly turns into myth.